Hey guys, what is going on? Jurgen from ZurGrinoSports here, and today I'm coming at you with the April 26th, 2021 edition of Raw Review. Obviously, I'm adjusting my mic, so hopefully that's not getting picked up. Obviously, we skipped last week, or I skipped last week. I was tired from work, and Raw was trash, so I just made a community post about it saying I was skipping last week. I gave it a 4 out of 10, I think, in the community post, and that was that. So, we're doing this week. We're back on it. Unfortunately so, but it is what it is. If you would like to let me know what you guys thought of Raw down in the comments below, you can do that. If you want to join the Discord for the server, the link is in the description. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description. And at the end of the video, if you liked the review, leave a like and subscribe and all that good shit. But without further ado, let's get into the review. We were scheduled to start things off with a rematch for no reason of Braun and Drew versus T-Bar and Mace, or whatever they're going to end up repackaging them as. I will mention this in this video, obviously, because I said I skipped last week. MVP saying that T-Bar and Mace have no affiliation with the Hurt Business is a very, very obvious foreshadowing, fucking like swerve. I forget what I'm trying to say, the actual word. But it's just, they are affiliated. It's just T-Bar and Mace aren't. Whatever their new gimmicks, whatever their new names will be, it's going to be a swerve, probably at Backlash. And they keep doing the whole WrestleMania Backlash shit, and it fucking stinks. Fucking stop, dude. You don't need why are you tagging, basically, and the thing that's really, really shady about them calling it WrestleMania Backlash is that the logo is like 80% WrestleMania and then like 20% Backlash. So I think what they're trying to do is trying to trick people into thinking it's WrestleMania who kind of missed Mania and who are really, really, really casual, and they're like, oh, okay, WrestleMania Backlash, that's a cool suffix, blah, 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 and then they're just here like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? So I feel like that might be what they're trying to do, or they're just trying to, it's shit. Anyways, misdirect. There we go. Finally found the word. The T-Bar and Mace are not affiliated to the Hurt Business is a misdirect. Misdirection. They are going to be. It's very obvious. And that's fine. I mean, like there are, ways to foreshadow stuff and to create loopholes and stuff like that in storytelling that can be good like that. And, if it was for people who I wanted to see affiliated with the Hurt Business, then I'd be all for it. I don't want T-Bar and Mace affiliated with the Hurt Business. I want Cedric and Shelton affiliated with the Hurt Business, but they are not. They are now tag team jobbers. So, and we'll get there, unfortunately. But, Drew and Braun were backstage getting ready after T-Bar and Mace made their entrances. Obviously, they lost their masks last week. DQ finished last week because Drew hit him with his mask as if, like, why? That was a stupid finish, but cool. Yeah, man. Drew's getting ready. Braun shows up. He's like, what? No, thank you. And then Drew's like, blah, 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 blah. I wanted to fight them, dude, blah, blah, blah. And then Braun's like, blah, blah, blah. You forgot who I am. I'm the monster among men. Follow my lead, kid. And then Drew's like, oh, yeah, but I'm Drew McIntyre. Follow my lead, kid. And then Braun's like, oh, well, I'll do what you couldn't do. Beat them in a handicap match. And then he gets out there. Greg Hamilton, I think, is the Raw announcer, whoever it is, I don't fucking care. Whoever it is starts announcing it as a tag team match. Braun's like, nah, like I told Drew backstage, this is a handicap match. I'm going to do what he couldn't and beat them both by myself. Blah, 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 blah. The match happens for a little bit before a DQ finish in the corner when T-Bar and Mace are beating Braun in the corner. They don't answer the ref's 5 count. Drew comes down for the save. What? No thank you? Haha, you're funny. Commercial, we come back. Restart as a tag match. Garbage. Trash. What the, why? And I'm spoiling it a bit. Oh, no, I'm not. This happened right after. After the match, Drew asks Pierce for a match with Braun tonight, and then Pierce is like, yeah, okay, I can make that happen. And then Drew's like, good. You just... One is, like, WWE does this thing a lot where they'll have one match the one week, and then they'll just like create like 2 or 3 matches the same night with stuff. And it's like, hey, guess what, WWE? You know how when you're building a show and you've got like 5 weeks of build, and very clearly you get to the 3rd week, and then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th week of WWE build is just trash, and you're like, what the fuck is this? It's like, oh, hey, guess what? They had 5 weeks of matches on one show a week ago because they're fucking dumb. They don't, like, why are you booking 3 weeks worth of matches on one fucking show? One, and 2, why are the first 2 of them shit and devoid of logic? Like, not devoid, it would be void, but like, what the fuck, man? This show, SmackDown is so good and Raw is so bad, and it's just, I'm just getting started and I'm already fucking over it. It's mind-boggling to me that the same company produces both shows. The gulf in quality between the 2 shows is so fucking big that it just does not make sense in my head how one of the shows is that bad, one of the shows is that good, and it's the same people producing it. Like, how do you have that big of a discrepancy? I don't understand it. But anyways, yeah. The match quality for the handicap, whatever, who cares? It wasn't that long. The tag match was whatever, who cares? The tag match finish, though, oh baby, this was also void of logic. So on the side of ringside that's closest to the ramp, Braun starts his Strowman Express. I think they got rid of the sound effect, thank fuck, because that was dumb. I'm not trying to watch Thomas the Tank Engine while I'm watching wrestling. Kevin Dunn, you fucking moron. You're still a fucking moron because you didn't get Billy Kay, you fucking piece of shit. He should be fired, but he's never going to be because he's best buddies with Vince and all that shit. So anyways, Braun goes for the Strowman Express. He hits, I think, Mace. T-Bar. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. They're fucking they're whatever. He hits one of them, and then he goes around to the other side where the commentary table is. Drew and I think, I honestly can't remember which one it is. Drew is there with the other member of, I'll still call him Retribution, just for simplicity and stuff. The other member of Retribution is there, standing with Drew. Strowman, after hitting the first member, comes across, and then for some fucking reason, Drew, facing Braun, goes for a clothesline on the dude that Braun is about to Strowman Express. He ducks under it, and then Drew fucking hits Braun, and then he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then I think maybe it would have been T-Bar. I don't really know. And then they like fucking made like a count out fucking finish where Drew gets counted out because like the other member takes advantage and like because the count had started. This is your number 1 contender for the championship, and you're doing a stupid ass fucking count out finish, man. And it's not even like it's a count out finish where like somebody doesn't want him to get the title shot and they cost him the match and whatever, because that's fine. It's a fucking dumb bullshit doo-doo fucking garbage finish for the sake of setting up a match later, which is Braun and Drew. And now I will spoil something. Braun asks for it to be a match where if Braun wins, he gets added to the match at Backlash because he didn't get pinned. In the triple threat number 1 contender for a while ago because Randy got pinned or whatever. And it's like, hey, guess what, WWE? You don't need this bullshit fucking count out finish loss for your 2 number 1 contenders now to set up that match, because guess what? Braun, in his backstage thing, literally gave a valid reason to try and get himself the match. Hey, I wasn't pinned. Hey, I should have another shot at getting the number 1 contendership. Blah, 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 blah. You don't need all this fucking can they coexist bullshit where they cost each other the match with some stupid fucking mistake that nobody at that level of fucking competitor would ever fucking make. Like, Drew is literally looking at Braun running his way. Drew was literally just standing there, and guess what? The ropes, you can see through the spaces between the ropes. So he would have seen Braun fucking do the Strowman Express on the other side, come around, and then he didn't even start his clothesline until Braun had already turned the corner, because obviously they need to get the timing of executing the move right. So, like, you have to do it that way. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, this is Drew McIntyre. He was champion for almost a year or whatever, and then he lost it to Randy for a few weeks, and then he won it back, which he never should have lost it. And then the whole cash-in thing happened with Miz and whatever. He's been your top guy since Mania 36, the one that didn't just happen, but the one a year ago, the one in the PC. He's supposed to be like the second biggest guy on the roster, because Lashley's the biggest guy now, and he's making that dumb shit mistake? Are you fucking, like... Because, like, you might respond if you're, like, very defensive about the situation and be like, oh, but he didn't try and attack Braun. He tried to attack Dijak. Why would you try and attack somebody who is looking at you, who can see you're about to attack them so they can duck, when somebody's coming from behind them and they don't know, and you see the person behind them about to attack them? Why would I be like, oh, hey, you're about to clobber that guy. Let me get some too at the same time. What the fuck? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I feel bad that the fucking talent had to go out there and do that, because it makes them look stupid. To the casual audience and to the hardcore audience, although the hardcore audience knows it's not real, it's not them, it's the creative. So the heat is on the creative from the hardcore audience. But the heat or the perception of a wrestler being dumb to the casual fans, that's on the wrestler. So you made Drew look incredibly stupid there. Because of that stupid finish, you gave your two number one contenders a count-out loss for no fucking reason, because you don't really need T-Bar and Dijak to really get wins when their whole involvement in this feud is, hey, they're going to screw over Drew at fucking Backlash, like, and then they're going to align with the Hurt Business. Have them start winning after they align with the Hurt Business officially, and then you can put over that the Hurt Business got them when they were still unofficially affiliated. Oh, whatever, they're not getting wins, boom. Like, there's just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and Raw never does, and it's fucking, it's taking years off my life. It's every fucking Monday. You know how people hate Mondays because it's the first day of the work week? I'd rather work a double shift at work than come home to fucking watch Raw, man. At least I'd be getting paid at work. I'm not getting paid to fucking watch Raw. I'm fucking wasting 3 hours of my life watching Raw every week because it's a garbage fucking show and I get no enjoyment out of it because of fucking the creative and everything. So, yeah, man, what a way to start off this review, man. We're like 13 minutes in and I haven't gotten past the first segment. Fantastic. Cool. And I'm already heated. All right. So yeah, like I said, Braun power slammed Drew after the match, and then that's why Drew asked for the match with Braun. And he gets it backstage. Then we had a Miz TV with Miz, Jomo, Elias, and Riker. They take credit for Bad Bunny's success again. Then they talk shit about his world tour and how they're going to rival his world tour with a concert. Elias dedicates it to Shane. They do a Hey Hey Hop Hop Unplugged where they sing Hey Hey Hop Hop. All four of them for the chorus, and then the actual verses is just Miz and Morrison. Lights get cut out, Priest music hits, he makes his entrance, he's on the mic, sorry to interrupt, your concert was so good, I had to attend it in person, you know what I mean? Like I did, I had the best seat in the house to watch Miz lose to Bad Bunny at WrestleMania, and your performance moved me, so we got a surprise of our own. New Day comes out, Woods has a guitar case that he is carrying down to the ring. They get down to the ring, he opens the guitar case, and they pull out tomatoes, and they start throwing tomatoes at Miz, Morrison, Riker, and John Morrison. Now, not great, and I don't like... Okay. So I'm not as mad at the tomato throwing as a lot of people were, because obviously it's not great, but it's not like end of the world, like, oh, what the fuck is this product? It's just kind of there to me. If you think it's that bad, like, fair enough, right? But to me personally, New Day throwing tomatoes at a heel group doing a concert makes sense. They're kind of that nonsensical comedic stuff. They do stupid stuff like that. They try and make it funny. They try and be light. You know, people throw tomatoes at bad performances and stuff like that. If y'all remember that SpongeBob episode, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't have a problem with New Day throwing tomatoes. It's not fantastic television. It's not like I'm sitting there like, ooh, I like that. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's like, well, that's fine. I don't like Priest doing it. I don't really like them doing this whole like, hey, I'm a meme with the New Day because I'm Damian Priest, baby. Like, have Priest just be like a no-nonsense, like, cool, badass piece of shit. You know what I mean? Not piece of shit because he's babyface, but like, just you know what I mean? Like, just have him be fucking cool and shit. And like, him throwing tomatoes and stuff isn't great. Yeah, man, that was that. And then we had a 6-man tag between them, which was announced before the show. It was not a like makeshift during the commercial bullshit. It was a 6-man. The 6-man, however, did not feature Morrison. It featured Riker, which on the one hand makes sense because Riker and Elias are feuding with the New Day, so tag team to tag team, and then Priest's main beef is with Miz. So, you know, the bits and pieces are there. At the same time, John Morrison is probably the best wrestler out of everybody out there. You know what I mean? At least on the heel side. I mean, Kofi's really good. Woods is good. Priest is good. Morrison's fantastic. He's better than Miz. He's better than Elias. He's fucking way better than Riker. Riker's not that great. So it's like, I would like to have been Morrison instead of Riker. But granted, the logic of the booking, even though it's mostly illogical, the fact that it's a 2-on-2 and then a 1-on-2 joining means that the 2 in the 2-on-2 has to stay whole in the 6-man, and 2 of the 1-on-2 has to sit out, right? And since Miz is the leader of the 2, essentially, he's the one in instead of Morrison. So I understand it. I don't want to see Riker. I'd rather see Morrison wrestling. The 6-man was fine. Woods gets a roll up on Riker for the win after a little while. They got a okay amount of time to work, I guess, and all that stuff. So yeah, again though, it wasn't the greatest match. It was a TV 6-man tag. You know, what can you expect? It was a TV 6-man tag, and a WWE TV 6-man tag. You know what I mean? You can have very good 6-man tags, and they can happen on TV if you run your show in the way that you would let them just go and have a great match. But it wasn't really that. It was fine. And then it was over. So yeah, man. Then we had a shot of Sonya walking backstage, lets Charlotte in, and then bada boom, bada bing. We have a commercial, then we come back and Sonya's in the ring. She introduces Charlotte. The referee, Eddie Orango, Orungo. I'm just gonna call him Eddie. The referee Eddie was in the ring, the referee that she destroyed last week, manhandled as she puts it when we get there. Sonya says how she got a suspension and a $100,000 fine. Sonya thinks that the decision was rushed, and because both sides were not heard. Charlotte says she sees the error in her ways. She apologizes. Her instinct took over, and she's here to right her wrongs, so she apologizes for manhandling Eddie, the referee. He accepts the apology, says that if he saw Rhea get involved, you know, he didn't see her. If he did, Charlotte would have won the match. Sonya says Charlotte has paid her fine in full, and now the suspension has been lifted. Charlotte is then like, and then Charlotte's in action tonight, and then Eddie, the referee, is going to be the ref for that match. Charlotte's then like, wait, he just admitted it was his fault last week, so Eddie, I need you to apologize to me. He's just kind of like, are you fucking serious, bitch? And then apologizes. He says, Charlotte, I'm sorry. She says, good boy. And then he opens the ropes for Charlotte and Sonya to leave. So the way Charlotte gave her apology was definitely fake, which I like, given the character that she's portraying right now. Her giving a fake apology, acting like she's sorry when she really isn't. Good shit. I don't like that they did this early. I don't think you need to do this the exact week. Maybe wait a week or two. Not only just because I don't want Charlotte on my television, but whenever you run a storyline like, hey, this person got fired. Hey, Punk left the company. Hey, Cena got fired. Hey, Charlotte suspended. And then you bring them back the next week, it just conditions the viewer's mind for any future occurrence where you think somebody's going to be gone for a while. You're just like, oh, no, they're not. Because they always bring them back too soon. WWE very clearly does not understand the concept of less is more. You know what I mean? Because, like, if Punk didn't come back as soon as he did, if Cena had actually stayed fired for, like, a month or something, or, like, 2 months and then come back, it could have made things stronger. If Charlotte was gone for a few weeks, that could have been good. You literally could have had her gone until Backlash, and then had Sonya let her in, or have her like attack the women's championship match, which could be the Rhea and Asuka rematch without any interference or whatever, because Charlotte got involved in the original one on the Raw. And then you could have Charlotte get involved again, and then on Raw you could have Sonya be like, hey, guess what? I let her in. I lifted her suspension. Fucking eat it. That's not great because it's a pay-per-view shenanigans finish, which, like, I think I've made my opinion clear on shenanigans finishes in big matches. Every now and again to advance story is fine, but if you do it too much, then it's kind of whatever, you know what I mean? But anyways, I feel like if you just kept her off TV until the next pay-per-view, the Backlash, and just had her like mess up a match on that pay-per-view or whatever, and then on the next night on Raw after that, have Sonya be like, hey, I lifted her suspension, and get fucked, you know what I mean? You could have done that. You could have just waited an extra couple weeks, done it next week, done it the week after, maybe on the go home. If you really want to get Charlotte heat, which she already just has go away heat, but if you want to get her more go away heat, you could have brought her back on the go home or whatever, had it set up as Rhea versus Asuka again at the pay-per-view, and then just had Sonya be like, hey, she's back, suspension's lifted, and she's in the match. It's a triple threat. You could have done other ways of doing this. I feel like them bringing her back this quick was a bit of a missed opportunity, not only in the sense of storylines and not making your audience not really value what you're selling them, because if you tell me, hey, I'm gonna give you this in like a few weeks, and then the next day you give it to me the next day, if you keep telling somebody, hey, this shit's gonna be unavailable for this long, and then the next day it's available, they're just never gonna in the future, they're just, if you ever say this is going to be unavailable for a while, they're just going to be like, okay, so tomorrow I'll see it. Like, they're not going to hold that in their head. They're just going to ignore it anytime. It's like the boy who cried wolf kind of thing, where it's like, hey, like, you're full of shit, I'm not going to buy it anymore. So I don't like that. But again, I like her giving a very clearly fake apology. Her turning it around and making the ref apologize, I think, is good because it puts her over as being someone you hate. Sonya continues her undermining Pierce thing that they started on SmackDown, so that's fine. I like that. You know what I mean? Them saying that she paid the suspension in full puts over that she has money, which I think is part of her gimmick because she's a Flair. Yeah. Her being in action tonight also wasn't really needed. You could have had just the apology this week if you wanted to do it this week and just have her in action next week. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have everything in 1 week all the time. So it's fine. But whatever. It's not a big deal. It's just, them having it this early is just not great because, again, it's the boy who cried wolf kind of thing. Pierce then confronts them backstage in Gorilla, saying like, oh, when were you going to tell me about this? Sonya's like, listen, it was a last minute thing. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Pierce is like, oh, I would accept that if I believed it. And then he storms off. And then that's that. We go to commercial. We come back. Pierce is on the phone with, I guess, corporate, saying how she usurped power or something. Braun comes in. He's like, hey, a couple weeks ago, that triple threat, who lost? Randy Orton. Okay, so not me. You know what I mean? So I think I should get another chance, blah, blah, blah. Like I said earlier, if I beat Drew tonight, or when I beat Drew tonight, he said, add me to the match, or do you need to run it? Do you need to clear it through Sonya or whatever? And he's like, no. Okay, you got it. So there we go. Then we had a Sheamus promo where he bragged about how he beat Humberto Carrillo last week. He proved he was a fighting champion. He didn't let the bell ring last week because he doesn't belong, Carrillo, that is, doesn't belong in the ring with Sheamus. So again, he's going to do an open challenge again, but to make it clear, the title is not on the line. Carrillo comes out again. Are you serious, kid? Blah, 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 talks shit, takes off his hat, throws the hat at him for a cheap shot, beats him down for a little bit. He gets on the mic to talk more shit. Humberto gets up, starts beating the fuck out of Sheamus, sends him to the outside in front of the announce table, dives at him, which sends him over the announce table, behind the table, and then he kind of, gets himself hyped up, goes to the back, and Sheamus is pissed. Sheamus claiming he's a fighting champion and then having an open challenge that's not for the title. I like it as a chicken shit heel kind of thing, except he's not a chicken shit heel because he'll beat the shit out of you. But like as a like, hey, you're not gonna get what you want from me. I'm gonna be sneaky and shit. Like as that kind of heel, I like that from Sheamus. I like that they're giving Carrillo something to do because I think Carrillo is a guy who doesn't have like world title potential or anything like that, in my opinion at least. But I think he's definitely a useful person to have on your roster, even if it's not to push and give a bunch of wins. Just have him on every week, and he can like lose to people and then get the occasional win, and then lose and then get the occasional win. You know what I mean? So. I like that they're showcasing Carrillo a little bit through this. He got a little bit of the upper hand on Sheamus this week, so that's cool. So that's fine. We had Lashley and MVP backstage, where they were asked if the preparation for the match at Backlash changes if the match changes. MVP says the interviewer likes to deal in hypotheticals. They deal in reality, and they have some grievances that they'd like to air. He could give them a scoop. Would you like that? Yes. No. Of course you would, but I could give you a scoop, but I won't. Then Rhea has an interview where she's asked about Charlotte. She says that the apology doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? She said she's happy she's back. Maybe their paths will cross, but tonight she has a 6-man, and Charlotte can play rugby with the referees. She's going to keep being the women's champion. Is the gist of that right there. Lashley and MVP then have a promo in the ring where Lashley says he did what he said he'd do, walk in and out of WrestleMania as the champion. He commanded respect. You know what I mean? Drew is like a piece of gum stuck on his shoe, and he's gonna beat him again, pretty much. He's gonna defend it again, but this time. What the fuck? I can't read my own writing. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Wow. He said that he's going to defend it again. He's going to beat them again. But this time there's a possibility of a three-way triple threat. MVP is offended by that. Any decision that is made without their opinion is disrespectful. They are the Hurt Business, Chief Hurt Officer. Anything that's not run by him is disrespectful kind of thing. The title reign could is potentially in jeopardy without even consulting, the Chief Hurt Officer. It's disgusting. MVP puts over how Lashley lost the United States Championship without getting beaten a triple threat, which is why him and Lashley hate the triple threat, because Lashley again could lose the title if Drew beats Braun or if Braun beats Drew, which I like a lot. Because they have a valid reason. They're like, hey, because like when Lashley before Mania was trying to avoid Drew, there wasn't really a reason there, because Lashley is hey, I'm going to kill everybody, whatever. With Lashley having already lost a championship in a triple threat without getting pinned or submitted, it makes sense that he would be like, hey, this is bullshit. Don't put me in this match. I've already lost a title like this. That's not fucking cool. So it makes sense, even though he's hey, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, eat you for breakfast, and win the match. I'm going to kill you, walking apocalypse, walking Armageddon thing. It makes sense because guess what? Being walking Armageddon isn't always good enough in a multi-man match, because you don't have to be involved in the finish, wrestling basics. So, yeah. But anyways, he says then, regardless of his opponent, after his 16-year chase, nothing will stop him, and he will leave Backlash still. The champion, Riddle, has an interview where he's circling around the interviewer. He talks about how he's on Cloud 9 or Cloud 12 or whatever. Riddle's just waffling on, saying a bunch of shit. Randy then shows up. He's like, I don't know what planet you're from. I'm from Earth. Shut up. But you and I have nothing in common. No, we're both from Earth. And then he's like, hey, whatever. I underestimated you. I asked for that match last week to beat some respect in you, but you sort of earned my respect. You mentioned last week a tag team named RK Bro. It's kind of catchy, so I figure, why not give it a try? I went and pulled some favors. We have a tag match if you want it. We can give it a try. Riddle says a bunch of shit about matching gear and stuff. He's like, listen, let's just do this match, give it a try, and we'll see where it goes. I think they have decent chemistry, Riddle and Randy. Randy being in a tag team with Riddle was not something I expected, so it's interesting. Riddle saying I'm from Earth and Randy saying shut up popped me. When Randy said we have nothing in common and Riddle said we're both from Earth, that popped me. I like this kind of Riddle comedy. Not the, yo, I'm so high, dude. What the fuck, dude? You want to go eat a bunch of stuff and do high person shit? I don't really like that too much, which I've made clear, I think, in my reviews. But the whole hey, I'm going to be a little bit of an idiot and just kind of be like when MVP said, I'm not your bro. And he was like, oh, and he almost cracked MVP in November or whenever it was. That kind of comedy from Riddle, I really like. The kind of I think it was an audible. I don't think that was written for him. If it was, whoever wrote it, congrats. But I feel like the whole Riddle where somebody says something and he just kind of butts in with a meme, and then they kind of have to just kind of go with it. It's kind of Randy's reaction to the Earth thing was so good. He just said shut up, and then that was great. But yeah, I like that backstage. Then we had Nia, Shayna, and Reggie backstage, where Nia is talking to Shayna and Reggie about how the company enables Charlotte, blah, blah, blah. Shayna's like, hey, listen, no more distractions. That means you, Reggie, no more distractions. Nia then gets flowers after Shayna walks off. She's like, oh, Reggie, this is so great, man. Thank you. And he's like, I didn't get those. And then Garza shows up and he's like, hey, enjoy my flowers. What it do? And then Reggie's all jealous. He's like, what the fuck are you? You don't want those flowers. And she's like, oh, these flowers are so great. And then they walk by Mandy and Dana. And then Nia throws the flowers at Mandy's face and says, put these in water, bitch. And then that's the whole segment. Kind of a mess of a segment. I like that Garza's on TV. Him being an admirer of Nia and then potentially having a match with Reggie. It's an easy win for Garza that could potentially start other wins. So it's not the end of the world if that's the route they take. I would like to see Garza on TV more because he's good in the ring and he's got charisma and all that stuff. So Garza getting TV time is positive. I think that's it. I mean, Nia complaining about Charlotte, I don't really care. Shayna saying, hey, no more distractions. She's been saying that for months now, and it's just not gone anywhere. And the put these in water bitch thing was actually a little bit funny, but also... whatever. Then we had MVP approaching. I put MVP approaches MVP on my board. He approaches Braun, and then Braun, kind of like senses him or hears him coming. He's like, speak, and then MVP's like, oh, you're gonna talk to me like that? The fucking blah blah blah. And he's like, hey, listen, talk to me like that again, and you're never gonna talk again. And he's like, okay, fair enough. Lashley doesn't appreciate you, groveling for this and that for the title opportunity, and then Braun cuts him off. He's like, listen, okay, no. I just hit my mic, excuse me. He's like, listen, no. If Lashley has anything to say to me, he can say it to my face. But since you're here being a little messenger, you tell Lashley that once I beat Drew, there's nothing he can do to stop me from winning the title, essentially, right? Then we had RK Bro versus versus Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. There was a rope hung DDT into a floating bro for the win, with Shelton taking the pin. Before that, there was a cool mid-air RKO from obviously Randy to Cedric. So RK Bro get their win. Cedric and Shelton taking the loss. Gross. While we're on the topic of tag teams, AJ and Omos have not been there since Mania. I feel like maybe one of them got COVID or something like that, or one of them got injured. If they're keeping them off. If they're keeping them off TV this long, it's been, 3 Raws since Mania, and they haven't shown up yet. Eric and Ivar, they were on 2 weeks in a row, and then Cedric and Shelton were busy. They couldn't do a rematch again, so they're not on Raw this week. Like, why? You know what I mean? I feel like you could get some easy wins out of RK Bro, though, if they're going down the route of RK Bro being like, hey, we'll try and get together at first and then split up like Y2AJ. You know what I mean? Like, if they go down that route with Y2AJ, you could get RK Bro giving some wins back. But they got to win this week, which is whatever. The fact that it was against Cedric and Shelton, I really dislike, because, again, Cedric and Shelton were part of the best part of Raw and in the Hurt Business before Mania, and now they're just tag team jobbers after being singles jobbers prior to the Hurt Business. So, fuck you, Vince McMahon. Then we had Asuka, Lana, and Naomi versus Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. So the heel champions versus the babyface contenders, I guess. I don't know if Asuka's officially the number one contender. I don't know if Lana and Naomi are officially the number one contenders, given that there's a Mandy and Nia and Dana and Shayna kind of thing going on. I don't really know. Hopefully the Garza stuff leads to the titles being taken off Nia and Shayna can go singles route, and then Nia can hopefully leave the company, which is never going to happen because she's an Hawaii family, brother. The Rock be pulling those strings for her. Maybe not directly, but the fact that she's related to him definitely helps her out. And then hopefully the Riot Squad can win them. That's also never going to happen because Vince doesn't know how to see talent in the year 2021. So halfway through the match, partway through the match, I don't really care. Mandy and Dana show up with a bucket of water. Shayna leaves, both Nia and Shayna are on the apron. They're the non-legal competitors. Shayna goes over to deal with them. They throw the bucket of water at Shayna. Nia then comes over and slips on the water that is now on the floor, which is whatever. The match ends when Rhea Ripley hits a riptide and then tags in Nia for the leg drop on Lana. I hate this so fucking much. Your women's champion hit her finish on Lana And instead of pinning her off of her finish, the finish where it only took one of them to beat Asuka for the championship at WrestleMania, mind you, instead of pinning off of her finishing move, the Riptide outright, she tags in Nia to finish the job. You're trying to put over Nia so strong that the women's champion needs her help to get the win against Lana of all people, which from a overall standpoint, she's improving like every week, which like fair play to her. She's busting her ass because you can tell she's improving every week. But like logically, Lana is the weakest competitor in that 6-man tag, right? She has the least experience, kayfabe, and for real. She has the least, booking success in all of it, right? Naomi's a former singles champion. Asuka's a former singles champion. Asuka had the undefeated streak for a while. Nia is a former singles champion. Shayna was NXT champion. Rhea is currently, you know what I mean? And in terms of like who's the worst, it would be Nia. But in terms of like who's the worst within kayfabe, in terms of success in the industry or in the company, for example, Lana's at the bottom of the 6. Why is the top of the 6 needing help from the 5th of the 6 to beat the 6th of the 6th? You know what I mean? And obviously in the kayfabe, Nia is not the 5th of the 6th. In reality, she's the last of the last. But like, she's up there in one. It's why? She's your women's champion, and you can't even have her get a fucking win over Lana. You have to give that to Nia, as if you don't protect Nia enough. Oh, but no, guess what? Nia's going to get rolled up by Natty on SmackDown for some reason to advance that stupid fucking Tamina and Nia bullshit that nobody wants to see over on SmackDown. So you got to make her look strong on Raw. What the fuck? Your women's champion hit her finishing move that she needed one of to beat Asuka at WrestleMania, and she needs to tag in Nia to beat fucking Lana? Like, are you who? I just want to know who the agents are for the match, who are like, hey, okay, you're getting the pin over this after this and this. Because whoever the agent was who thought it would be a good idea to have the top person in that match need help from somebody beneath her to pin the bottom of the barrel in that match. Raw doesn't make sense, man. Raw doesn't fucking make sense, man. Them wanting to protect Nia and make her look so strong, it doesn't make sense. It's so shit. I fucking hate it. There's a segment backstage with Mandy and Dana where Sonya's like, hey, you guys should be embarrassed. You're doing this and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Charlotte needs an opponent. Mandy, you're it. So there you go. Mandy is jobbing to Charlotte later, unfortunately for her. So then we had Alexa's Playground where she says that Lily is her true BFF. We can all have a Lily of our own. If you ask nicely, if you what did I write? What the fuck did I write? I don't know, bro. Alexa tells you to look into her eyes, concentrate, think dark thoughts, twisted thoughts. We all have them. Repeat after me, Lily, Lily, Lily. Kind of like Bloody Mary, where you say it 3 times in the mirror. I think is the intention of that. Then picture something peaceful. The screen shows like meadows and shit like that. Y'all know that fucking jump scare video of the car going through the hills. Kind of picture that. Then boom, Lily jump scare. Which, come on. Come on, man. You had something good when you have an intense, creepy Alexa with the contacts in to make her eyes look fucking, like they're just the pupils and stuff like that, looking into the camera, not breaking, vision, not moving, not blinking or anything, saying think dark thoughts, twisted thoughts. We all have them. You know what I mean? Like intensely. That's good. You putting a jump scare that you'd see on YouTube in 2007 at the end of that. Oh, that's shit. So fantastic. Then Alexa laughs for the jump scare. She says it was Lily's idea, but Lily's getting restless. It's time to unleash Lily to play with the rest of WWE, but don't blame me for what happens next. Lily made me do it. Then she laughs, and then they do the Lily fucking CGI bullshit where she like fucking bites at the screen at the end. Blah blah blah. Who fucking cares? On the subject of Alexa, we had a Firefly Funhouse with Bray on the Monday after on the Raw after Mania. We haven't had them in the last 2 weeks. So I don't know if Bray was like, hey, let me do Bray versus Bray with Bo, and they were like, oh, actually, Bo's gone, and then Bray's like, well, what the fuck? So they have him off the show, or I don't know if they're doing a whole thing with Bray where they're keeping him off the air to kind of make us forget about him a little bit so he can like screw over Alexa in her quest for the championship or something, if that's what she ends up doing with Lily. The way she says Lily made me do it, and having her version of let me in be Lily made me do it, I'm fine with that. The whole Lily thing is fine. The 2007 YouTube jump scare, fuck out of here with that. Whoever thought of that, garbage, fuck off. The shit before it though, I really enjoyed. The whole intense looking into the camera, not breaking eye contact, saying the whole concentrate, think dark thoughts, blah, blah, blah. That was good for the character. Once again, 2007 YouTube jump scare, trash. And then Lily made me do it. I'm fine with. Then we had Charlotte versus Mandy. There was a little meme where Charlotte kind of goes into the corner that Eddie is in. What the fuck? My cat's meowing. I don't know if that's getting picked up by the mic. I'm going to keep going. So we have Charlotte versus Mandy. Eddie, the referee, is in the corner, and he kind of like cowers in fear when Charlotte's kind of sent into him. She stops. She's like, bro, you're in my way, blah, 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 blah. Mandy does a roll up that doesn't go. But Charlotte then gets a pin, and then Eddie counts 1, 2, and then he doesn't count the 3, and then she's like, "Bruh, it's a slow count the 3, blah blah blah." Charlotte ends up winning with natural selection. Charlotte, of course, was going to win. I really don't know if that's getting picked up. I think my cat's throwing up, so if it is getting picked up by the mic, great YouTube content that you want from a wrestling review. That's why you come to my channel, dude. But anyways, there was a Drew interview backstage where he's asked about tonight's stipulation. He's not happy. He does a bunch of wordplay fucking shit. I don't fucking know, bruh. At this point, I was falling asleep. I wanted to sleep. I was bored of Raw. I was fucking questioning my life decisions, why I ever became a wrestling fan to begin with, to watch this garbage fucking show that they put out every week on Mondays. But then again, every Friday, SmackDown comes around, and I'm like, oh, I like being a wrestling fan. And then Monday comes around, and I wish I never started watching wrestling. So, it's a cycle. Then we had Drew versus Braun in the main event. Could have been a good match if they actually let them go. It was okay. Midway through the match, Lashley and MVP came out. It's just that typical WWE thing where a match is happening and they want a reason to go to commercial, so they just have somebody come out midway through the match, kind of taunt a little bit at the top of the stage, then you go to commercial and you come back and they're either on commentary or just sitting at ringside watching. It's like, hey, guess what? They can be there from the start, WWE. You don't need this fucking bullshit like, oh, hey, look, they're here. Wow, we might as well take a commercial because, whoa, this is so wacky and fucking it wasn't planned and they just came out. We have to... Who cares, man? Fuck off. Kevin Dunn, you suck. Anyways, we got Drew versus Braun, like I said. So the match was fine. I'm gonna keep it a stack. I'm not gonna lie to you fellas. I was not paying attention until the finish. I just wanted to fucking go to sleep, man. This show stunk. So yeah, but the finish though, here we go. The finish was that Lashley distracts the ref on the side of the apron that's closest to the hard cam. On the opposite side, MVP, saves Drew from a running power slam. He kind of drags him down and stuff like that. Drew gets a little bit of offense, setting up for the Claymore. Mace and T-Bar come onto the apron. He knocks them both down, and then he turns around into a running power slam. And then Braun wins the match to be added at WrestleMania Backlash, brother. Gotta fucking false advertise because nobody will fucking watch the show otherwise. Instead of actually booking a compelling product and getting people to enjoy the product that we're putting out, we're gonna do bullshit lazy shit every week and just tack on funny names to hope you fucking buy it. Awful Raw. And it has been for 3 weeks. 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I don't give a fuck. When you're watching a wrestling show that's meant to be for entertainment, and halfway through the show you're like, man, I want this to be done so I can go to sleep, but I can't go to sleep because I have to do this review for my channel. If I wasn't doing these reviews for my channel, man, I would have gone to sleep, or I would have skipped Raw. You know what I mean? Last week I watched Raw, and then I was just so tired on the Tuesday. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not doing the review. Honestly, if I wasn't doing these for the channel, man, I wouldn't have watched Raw last night. I would have skipped it. I would have watched the YouTube clips. Fuck, I wouldn't have even watched the YouTube clips. I would have scrolled through Twitter, seen what they did, and been like, oh, that's enough. That's garbage. The only good thing tonight was what? What did I like? The Riddle and Mandy stuff, I think, was the only thing I liked. It was the best part of the show. I think that was the only thing I liked. In a 3-hour show, a collective 10 minutes of it was the only highlight. How fucking sad is that? Like, oh my god. I mean, the Sheamus stuff was okay. It wasn't anything great. Lashley and MVP not wanting the triple threat because it's a triple threat. Them using the past to justify not wanting the match. I like that. But other than that, man, there was nothing on the show that was redeeming, man. 3 out of 10. I don't give a, fuck this show. Fuck that company. Oh, man, I can't wait for Friday so I can be happy about the wrestling. Unless SmackDown is going to be shit, because there's been maybe 2 awful SmackDowns since I started watching again in October. Hopefully it's not a third one this week. I think it'll be good because SmackDown's usually good. So, yeah, man. Anyways, that's it for the Raw review. Like I said, I'm going to say 3 out of 10. Excuse me. Just not a great show. Just lazy, no logic. Things we don't want to see are being shown. Is fucking is garbage. Point blank, period. End of the day, it's garbage. So yeah, man, that was my opinion. Let me know what you guys thought of Raw down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you agree with my 3 out of 10? Would you rate it lower, higher, or the same as me? Do you agree or disagree with certain points that I made? Let me know all that shit down in the comments below. It's always nice hearing other opinions on the wrestling. If you'd like to check out some of the other shit I do on the channel, I do primarily gameplay stuff, wrestling gameplay stuff. 2006 GM mode, and my 2007 and 2008, but currently running is 2006 GM mode, where I book my own storyline. So if you'd like to see how I book wrestling compared to what I just shit on for the past 50 minutes, you can go do that, as well as some other more commentary-based stuff like 2K14 and All-Stars, which is done, but TNA is starting soon. I just have to get around to editing it. So hopefully tomorrow or Friday, hopefully, no promises. I'll see what I can do. And then, yeah, man, if you'd like to join the Discord server for the channel, you can do so. Link in the description. Follow me on Twitter, link in the description. Please sponsor me, PC, of course. Got to get that sponsor me gimmick in there, brother. Be sure to turn on notifications so you don't never miss an episode, because YouTube likes to zuck your boy, and I'll put my videos in your sub boxes. So by pressing the nice old bell icon, you will get a push notification anytime I do upload, and you'll never have to miss it. And yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, share it to all your friends, comment down below, all that good shit. And I'll see you guys next time.